welcome back to another episode of Jurassic News! So today we have so much Jurassic news covering all spans of the franchise, but first, there was something that I didn't really sort of delve into that was featured in the last video, and that was the toys. If you remember correctly, this was inside the T-Rex head. Now, I've heard reports that apparently people or channels that have covered the toys have been getting takedown requests. I don't know how true this is. I don't know of anyone in particular. It's just what I've heard in this space, which is very, very interesting. Now, why, James, are you talking about this one in particular? Well, the Parasaurolophus, otherwise known as the Para. Now this one, as you can see in the toy, has a tiny little crest, and if you know Parasaurolophus, they have a long pompadour thing on their head. Scientists say they played like a bassoon, if you're Kelly from Chaos Island. Now, this one, if you remember correctly, it doesn't have a crest at all on it. So it got me thinking about that Parasaurolophus prop. You remember back when they were filming in Thailand, there was set photos taken, and one of them was this parasaur. It was a big hubbub, everyone covered it, and was like, oh, we got Parasaurolophus in the new movie. And now we're sort of back and forth. Maybe it's a hadrosaur, not a parasaur, which would be very interesting. You know, the first time we've had a hadrosaur, I think, in the movie franchise. But there was something off about the parasaur. If you look closely around its crest, if you know anything about Photoshop, that looks like the clone stamp tool, or an autofill tool in particular. Something where you take around a segment and you tell Photoshop to autofill, like content aware. So it looks at things around and it duplicates certain things. As you can see, it's very common that it takes multiples of the same things and adds them to it, making a weird sort of wavy effect. The other image that came out was this one. And this one looks a little bit different. As you can tell, it has blood on its head, and the other one didn't. Now, this led me down a rabbit hole of theories and thinking, hold on. If this is the same Parasaurolophus, why, for a start, are its eyes different? Why on the one that has the weird Photoshop around its crest has no blood on it as well, also has its eye painted in? If you can see, like, the one on the right is quite clearly a close-up picture of the same person who took it. And the one on the left, well, it has like a reticulating eyelid or something. I can't remember what it's called, so the crocodiles have and lizards have. Whereas the other one is quite clearly just a solid bit of styrofoam, plastic, or whatever they've used to model this thing. And it got me thinking, this must be edited. So I thought I'd do a little bit of internet sleuthing, and I looked around. I managed to find the personal account of this person who posted this image on Facebook, and would you believe it no longer exists? So this person does, they are a real person, but the image or reel that they posted is gone, and now the only one that's floating around the internet is this doctored one. I'm 100% sure this is doctored because, well, we're about to see. Blood splatters, the original image doesn't exist, clone stamp tool effect or autofill everywhere. I had to get to the bottom of it, so I Google image reverse searched, and the oldest one I could find was from 8 months ago. And when I searched through all of the lists, I came across this image. This is one that I have not seen before, and it shows that we're not just talking about a head and maybe the bust of a Parasaurolophus, we're talking about the whole darn thing. And this has been floating around. I don't know how I managed to miss this one, but I did. It is the whole Parasaurolophus, and you quite clearly see again, the head is covered up, but it is the same top, it's the same position and everything as what we've come to know. And I think because of that, we can almost complete an entire scene from Jurassic World Rebirth, this being the river chase scene. This has the family characters on the riverbank. We don't know how they get here. Maybe they washed up ashore. Maybe they ran out of one of the Indian facilities. She manages to startle a Dilophosaur that has been feasting on the Parasaurolophus, which was probably taken down by the T-Rex. And why do I think it was taken down by the T-Rex? Well, why would you cover, apart from to protect it, obviously, and spoilers, obviously, all that taken into account, but this Parasaur has been ripped into. This could could be the gore that they're talking about. Dinosaur gore, that is, not human gore. Maybe we'll get a little bit of that, but I don't know. So they don't want to show this parasaur's whole rib cage exposed, and that's why I'm assuming that it's covered up. This T-Rex has taken a massive bite out of it and is now napping behind our character. If you know, we've checked out this in other Jurassic Newses, that you can see the silhouette of the T-Rex behind her. And of course, she runs out, the Dilophosaur gets startled, turns around, does the threat display to her, and in turn, wakes up the T-Rex that's behind her, and thus ensues the whole river rapid scene, and it could have other parasaurs as well along the bank. And, you know, they go a bit like with Jurassic World 3, you had the parasaurs and Cretasaurs, and they ran through those. Maybe we get a little bit of similar scene like that, except for now you've got parasaurs thrown into the mix, swimming along the river. But I just thought that was, we finally tied these two together. Judging by the sand, the foliage in the background, a little bit of Photoshop, you can kind of see exactly where this fits into. And due to my incessant need to be thorough when researching these sorts of things, I have already made the video, editing it now, and I went back and managed to find exactly where all these photos came from. And it was the same guy who posted the first one. There was only one person, and he took photos from far away, took photos from close up, and I assume was told to take down these images due to something that I'll show in a second. So he has the parasaur's head, or parts of it, and it does look like it was made of styrofoam, as well as the temple bits that were in Thailand. He does seem to be on good terms with the production team, so he was probably allowed take a piece of it back. And to prove my point that I thought it was gore, he's also got the gore parts as well. Bits of rib, organs, as well as a toe he has lying around his house, I assume. And this is, of course, all just a love letter to Stan Winston and his team, because they made a Parasaurolophus carcass that was never really used. Well, it kind of was in The Lost World, but its main scene where it was fished up in a trawling net was never put to film. However, it did make a little cameo in the T-Rex nest. And thus leads us on to our second topic, chaos theory. Yes, we know that this season is just around the corner, coming on April 3rd, 2025 to Netflix. But did you know that there are 2 seasons confirmed coming to Netflix? Not just one. And also we have the 3 images that I'll throw up. You have the gang in some sort of wintry area with lots of snow. You have Sayora Santos with Brooklyn playing chess. Yes, I'm playing checkers, you're playing chess. And of course we have character. Why do I only know Brooklyn's name? Anyway, as you can quite clearly tell, I'm not too versed in the Camp Cretaceous chaos theory lore, really hiding from a Ceratosaurus. But how do I know that there is 2 seasons confirmed? Well, thanks to Mattel. Roll the clip!
Jurassic World Rebirth comes out July 2nd. We also have 2 seasons of Chaos Theory from Netflix before and after the movie.
Yes, as you said right there, as a spokesperson from Mattel showing off the toys, which we'll see in the coming segment, says we also have 2 seasons of Chaos Theory from Netflix before and after the movie. Of course, April is before, obviously, as I think it's July is when Jurassic World Rebirth is confirmed to come out, and then after will be probably September, October, November, sometime like that. But this takes us swiftly onto the plastic gold. Thanks to Nerd News today, we have got an absolutely stunning showcase of the upcoming toys. So let's take a look.
We're gonna have new species in our core line.
Ooh.
Every single one of our dinosaurs is in scale with their human
That's
3
good to know.
3/4 inch figures. We've got an all new cast for the movie, so that means new human figures, new innovation, even a new design.
Thank God, because there's too many of them.
We can start with our Devour Power T-Rex. Holding down the tongue, I get lights,
That's
action,
pretty cool.
and sound. And because the mechanization is in the neck, and I've got control through the tail, it is the most realistic T-Rex we've ever put
Oh,
on.
wow, okay.
Tail thrashing.
This guy, look at that.
Flywheel mechanism with sound and action and those rubber
Wow.
teeth. But what a flywheel really lets me do is wind her up.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that they've got the Spinosaur on the whole pads, because if they started doing that, it would definitely fall over. But such a cool movement with the crocodile tail and everything there. That is awesome. And we'll get into that in a second. That's a giant Titanosaurus. But this is cool. This is the first mosasaur that actually has movement.
We've got swimming action through the tail and a button-activated launching catapults, so
Nice
we can
catch.
launch out our Dilophosaurus that comes with it. We can gulp it back down. We can do that
So
right
what's
out of the box.
interesting about this part, sorry, I spoke over it, hopefully I'll play it again just so you hear it.
If we see it do something in the movies, we're going to try to capture that action in our action figures.
It's possible that this mosasaur eats a Dilophosaur and spits it out. I mean, it's not too far-fetched if you think about it, right? Like, we've already seen a Dilophosaur on the shoreline of the river, in very quite close proximity to a mosasaur if it was able to get inland, although the depth of the river we see in the T-Rex is very shallow, but maybe it'll be in the climax of the movie or something like that.
We got our Titanosaurus, which is the biggest.
Yeah, we don't need we don't need to look at the Titanosaurus. It's one giant bit of plastic and it doesn't look like it does anything. It's like all of them. But this is really cool.
Coatless, 2-button activation.
Look at this. This is awesome.
That we can push a button.
Ah,
spread
that's so
those
cool. I
wings,
love the fabric.
Flaps. Top button gives a sound. and
No
action.
flap though, by the looks of it.
Size of the Jurassic World.
But look at the
Ready
way
for
you
landing,
fold
we just
that.
Tap it back in.
That's so cool! Like, the only one I can think of that was quite close to that was the Pteranodon for the Lost World Kennerline, which had fabric. That could flap, but putting its wings back in, you couldn't do something like that. You'd have to clip it back in, and then it was as if it was in its captured pose. So that's just next level. It's a shame that I'm not a fan of the sculpt or the colors. It just looks boring. The mechanism for it is really cool, but just why those colors? This
got
is
our
cool,
Dino Chaser
however.
RC, 2 speeds on this. We got the iconic vehicle coming from the movie. We can capture our dinosaur and flip it right
That is
back
great.
into the back of the truck.
Patrick, do you know if that's in scale with the action figures that they've been coming out with like the retro style figures?
That's a good question. I do know that this dinosaur is in scale, and our 3 3/4-inch figures can fit into it. So most likely, yes.
Oh, great.
Good to know that figures actually fit in the toys. That's very important.
So if you're a fan, 20
Also, I found this. This is, you remember the Hatchimal craze of like, I don't know, a couple of years ago, maybe it was more than a couple of years ago, but Jurassic has decided to lean into that and have their own hatching dinosaurs. It seems like a match made in heaven, and I'm quite surprised they haven't done it until now. So let's have a look. The first time I'm watching this too.
Oh, did you hear that? It's waking up. So any minute now, you're gonna see a T-Rex. Oh, do you see that?
Like we have a baby T-Rex from the Lost World.
Here he comes.
But the way it so breaks, look at that. Come on. Come on now. Push, push.
Getting to experience history.
Oh
right
my
now.
god.
Look at that.
But look at that, it's got like a membrane.
Do you want to help him out? Do you want to pull out that little piece? There you go. Oh, and that,
Oh, that gooey membrane.
That is the wildest thing.
I mean, it's really cool. It's a great idea. But the toy itself, I mean, it's okay. It'd be interesting. I mean, I don't think I've seen it outside of the egg. That's the only thing. And of course, you know, once they hatch, then what'd you do with it?
He's going to continue to hatch. Once you finish the hatch, you have a little quick trainer and a piece of meat. So you get to train him using the quick trainer.
Ah, so it's like a robot.
As like a
It's got sensors in its nose.
So you can use that button, and then you can feed him.
Oh, okay. Right, so we've seen something similar to this with the robot dinosaurs. I think I made a video on them like ages ago. It was like Spin Master, I think, who made those. So it's basically that, but it has a cool little gimmick. And of course, we got to see a kind of exclusive look at his Spinosaurus render. This one has more of a sort of the more traditional, modern, I would say, style of a Spinosaur. Quite sleek features. It's got the crocodilian, almost alligator gharial sort of snag over the top there for catching fish. And this comes from Jurassic Park podcast. But, unfortunately, this is an early render. Yes, you can see it on the pack, but it is not the final render, or this is not the render we're going to get on the packaging. And that is, of course, this comes from our own Chris Pugh, who noticed this in the video, where you can actually see the final version of that Spinosaur. And, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of sick of the crocodilian look. I mean, it is Jurassic, though, let's be honest. I've spent years playing Jurassic World the game, it ain't spiky and pointy, then it ain't a Jurassic dinosaur, I suppose. It's a bit of a shame, but at least we got to see what could have been, and then there's just sort of been left in there for the Uno cards. But we also have another clip that came up. This is from Jurassic Park 4.4, which shows a lovely overview of the vehicle. We saw the toy of it just earlier there before, but this is the one that's actually in the movie, or maybe it is based. I suppose the chassis is probably based on a Jeep Wrangler or something. They usually are, but everything about it seems to be custom molded or 3D printed, so there isn't any particular car that, if you want to make your own, you're not going to be able to do it, unfortunately. But some takeaways from this is that on the side of it, it has a clip for either a torch or a flare or even possibly a gun, but it looks to be just a handle, like a taser or something. But we have InGen Biogenetics, again, a different logo. We have 3 logos of Parker Ingenetics, InGen Biogenics, and then we have the InGen logo. We've got so many different logos, but also we have this Jurassic Park logo. Now, this one hasn't even been used since the Jurassic World era back in 2015. So I think this, alongside everything else, kind of tells me that this isn't an old vehicle. Like, this tech, I mean, look, at the time Jurassic Park was around, we were using Jeep Wrangler Saharas, which were like, gasoline and all that jazz. Whereas this seems to be freaking runs on electricity by the looks of it, how its headlights are and everything. It's very modern. So again, I don't think this is an old bit of tech that has been on the island since the 80s or 90s. I think there's some more nefarious going on the island, and this has been an ongoing thing. They're going back to the island after an experiment, being coerced, all that jazz. Oh, do you remember that guy earlier on in the video who took the pictures of the parasaur and took bits of it home? Yeah, he's also the reason we have the Jeep. Apparently he's decided, oh, well, the Jeep's been out there now. I guess I can post my video. So that bit is actually from him, which is very interesting. He was obviously very close to the production team. So much so, he even drove to the site of the old InGen lab, which is still there. The team left it in the beautiful picturesque mountains in Thailand somewhere. So, I mean, I'm assuming it's still up since he posted this like a couple of days ago. So if you were in Thailand, you could go find it. They also took the signs that were left there too. They'll be on eBay before you know it for thousands. Why not end this off on a high with some absolutely amazing renders from W-Rex, really putting the W in their artworks. You've got the Spinosaurus, which looks fantastic. You've got the Raptor as well, sporting the new color schemes that we've seen. You've also got the Titanosaurus there. I think out of everything we've seen so far, Titanosaur gets the least amount of love because it is just a giant sauropod. Maybe we'll see its whiptail in action to show why it's so dangerous. And of course, the D-Rex there, looking absolutely... Well, I mean, weirdly Rancor xenomorph as always, except for this one is missing its beluga head. And that just about wraps up this Jurassic World news segment. We have covered a lot. Chaos Theory has a second series we didn't know about. We've almost tied together an entire scene for Jurassic World Rebirth without even seeing any more of the trailers. And also, all the toys. Some of those toys look absolutely amazing. I think my favorite, Spinosaur. Spinosaur's getting loads of love, it has to be said. But the way its tail moves and its heads go, I just hope it works underwater. That's the only thing. There's going to be stuff in there that's going to rust if water gets in there, I'd imagine. But, kids do that. It's supposed to put it in water and then it breaks. But hopefully they've thought about that. I really don't think so. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Oh, bye-bye.